And we are back at bench number 1. I was just testing these studs to make sure that they were loose, because they usually are. Alright, so I've got the new Wilkinson Grover style mounted. And, oh, funny, not so funny story. I only got 4 collars. Only got 4 collars to go in there. And this, a half a one with no thread in the package. I've had them around for a long time. They came in right after I had fixed the Fantasy, and they were destined for the Fantasy, and I thought, well, string change, so it's a good thing I kept the parts, you know, from the ones that came off of here, because the collars work, buttons and washers and things are good. So, and besides, I've got a ton of other ones in stock as well. Now, if some of you had watched me from before, you know that when I was doing these early on, I was using plumber's tape, and I would make sure it would go in very well, and it would still cut through the surface, so it would bite in the grooves but fill in the gaps. But somebody suggested copper tape, which is a very nice suggestion, and I noticed a couple of other people also doing this. Now, I think I did this on the last couple of guitars. I didn't bother talking about it, and so it's copper on copper on the threads. But just like plumber's tape, you have to wind it on the threads and press them in, much the same as you would plumber's tape, to take up the gap in the hole to make them sit nice and firm. These M8s are always loose in every guitar. And we're going to go with like a little bit of that and see what it does. And hopefully that's going to work, because when you unwind it, typically it's going to want to come off. And I may have put too much. Oh no, it was just a little lump at the bottom. So a turn and just a little bit more over the top does it. No more fiddling around in the hole. So that will make the bridge sit nice and tight, and I'm going to do the tailpiece posts as well. This is a little bit longer than the stud. Doesn't have to be that long. It can be half as much as the stud, because the studs are going to go in more than half that length anyway. So yeah, I could get double out of this. I think I'll cut the tailpiece ones a little bit better than this one. Oops. Whoops. All right, so just over the end of where the other one stops. Should be just enough. Get that back on the wax. There. All right, here we go. Now, as per usual, I will be putting a roller bridge here. Going to leave that up a little bit on that side, less on that side. Yeah, so on this one, I'm gonna cut it down the middle again. And I'm going to cut that in half because I think that's about where it's going to go around the stud. Just eyeballing it, you know. I don't know how they make this copper so thin. Should be on an episode of Incredible Machines. Okay, that one went around just a little bit further, but because I left some blank, it should work okay. And these go down, you know, pretty close into the body. Perfect. Just as long as they're not wobbly, they should be fine. All right. And ta-da! And I had to go find this bridge. I thought I had one out, and I just can't find it. So maybe it is out, and I just can't find it. This is a Geiger. Now the other thing I like to do with these is turn them before I put them on, just to make sure all the screws are going to be coming loose. These have the flat screw on them and not the standard Phillips. It's easier to get them going when they're here in your hand. Oh yeah, and this has the little Allen key bolts, screws, Allen screws, to hold it tight to the post as well. That's the first time I've had one like that. I think these Geigers were on special. They're usually a little bit more money. Yeah, these are nice and loose. They're not sticky at all. Yes, they are good. Oh, beauty, beauty. Right, the right love in the right place makes all the difference. So let's do a peeling. Not an appealing, but a peeling. Okay, we made a little bit of mess. And we're going to put on a set of 9 to 46s. I've just found that the D'Addarios are my thing. Now, since these are not locking tuners, I will be using the luthier's knot as per usual. The ratio on these tuners are very good. Okay, after checking at the other bench, it looks like I may have wired it right. Everything is testing what looks like it should be okay. So the rest of the strings are on, up to pitch. So the first thing that's going to happen is I'm going to let it sit here to pull on the neck. I'll do a truss rod adjustment because it's likely going to re-need one after getting the board straight for leveling. So we'll do truss rod, do action height, and then intonation. Surprisingly enough, weeks have gone by since the last clip because I was waiting for hardware to come from China. And then I remembered I forgot to finish filming this Chibson guitar. And then I decided to take it out of the case and manhandle it, and turns out the jack doesn't stay in very well. So I got to replace that. So another thing I had to replace. The soldering on this is shit too. So I've got an Epiphone part with the Shepherd staff, which is nice and tight. And now that should be better. Yeah, that's better. Problem solved. Okay. It's been a while. I was waiting for this bracket to come so I could put this clear pick guard on there. Finally arrived, and she's ready to go. So let's go over to the amp and see what it'll do with the Advancin 59 and Artec. Just so you know, she comes in at 8.4 pounds. The bridge is 8.43, 7.10. In the middle, unsplit, because I've only split the bridge. Unsplit is 3.86, and with the split, full up, 2.97. So there's a little bit of a difference there. And of course, as I mentioned before, blending gives you an infinite amount of options when they're wired independently. Alright, so that's all the data. Alrighty then. We've made it to the desk with the computer and the recording stuff. Oh, look what I found when I was out the other day. Isn't that cool? Just for you guys today. Alright, here she is. Look at the action. That action is super low and good, guys. All along there. Yes. Oh, and these Wilkinson tuners are sweet. Like 1 to 19 or 21. Oh, and I customized my headstock. Yeah. Yeah. It does Smiley Chibson. Okay. Now, a little bit of dust. Let's see what those pickups sound like together. Let me just pull this up a little bit here. Yeah, I'm going to go with the 50. Alright, finally got it to stay in tune. The strings are stretched well enough. Alright, standard 65 deluxe reverb, bridge, full, everything. The famous D chord with a sus. No effects, no boosts, nothing. That's a sweet one. See what the Artec does. Nice. Together. Ooh, I like it. I like it. Okay, so in honor of the shirt. We're going to put the US Dream on. That's the best I can do. Turn that off. Turns it back into a sweet machine. Okay, so that is the full. Now I did split the bridge, and it sounds like this with a Fralin resistor. So it takes it from the creamy smooth to the little bit sharper single version of it. Oh, and in the middle with the split, tonal availabilities. All right, let's try something. Let's put on the fuzz. So with the fuzz on, we get little bite to it. And if we turn the compressor on with that, brings it up a little bit more. Sustain from the compressor. Backing track. Here we go. turned out. It turned out, guys. It turned out. Let me get rid of that noise. It turned out. Indeed. I did also take a little bit of the sheen off the back of this neck. Not a lot, but just enough, you know, to make it a little bit less sticky. And we're going to call this one good now. Yeah, it's a beauty. The original seller of this is no longer on eBay, but there is another seller that I found on eBay that is offering this, like $289 US, and extraordinarily amount of money in Canadian. But I got away with the import taxes on this one. Love it. Yes. There's not another one like it. Thanks for watching, guys. Appreciate all your support. Catch you in the next one.